Hi, this is Catherine Moore, and I am the creator of Exposing a Monster podcast. And this conversation took place on, it was April 11th, 2017. And this was a conversation that I had with the one of the assistant school principals of the elementary school that our older son was attending at the time. And one of the things that they were using for him was a crisis room. And in this recorded conversation, I am able to catch his as the assistant principal in a lie how well Alex is doing in school. And I am asking questions that she clearly is not prepared for me to ask. And they also did not know that I had attended 12 different schools by the time I graduated from high school in the state of Texas. And I also used to sit in my own ARD meetings. So I have been through the special education system in Texas. And I am very familiar with how it works. I am also very familiar with how administrations works, and I'm very familiar with how school administrations work. I grew up around teachers. I grew up around school administrators. And I grew up around school superintendents of school districts. And Carl Edward Anthony really didn't know this because he was too busy putting me through abuse and never really had much interest in asking me about my life. Also, I had suppressed quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and play this recorded conversation for you.
Just a moment, please. Robinson Elementary.
Yes, this is Catherine Anthony. I'm calling to ask about Texas City.
You're calling to, I'm sorry, what, Mrs. Anthony? I can't hear you.
Okay, yes, I'm calling to find out how Alex is doing in the classroom.
He's doing well. Have you called his teacher?
I've requested multiple times to have a parent-teacher meeting, of which no one has responded back to me.
Okay, so you called her or emailed her?
I haven't emailed. I've emailed her before. Yeah, I have emailed her.
Okay, and what's a good number? Because she would be the best one for you to get in touch with.
I do have another question. When was the last time a crisis room was used for him?
So you're going to have to talk to her about that. Because within that area, she knows obviously more. There hasn't been one where I've been involved. A lot of it's handled in the classroom, so you're definitely going to need to talk with her about that.
Mm-hmm. Does he have to be escorted everywhere?
Meaning, does someone walk with him different places?
Yes. Is someone always walking with him everywhere he goes?
To and from classes, yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What's your number? And I can.
is, if he's doing so well, why would a crisis room be used for him? If he's very successful in the classroom, then what would the purpose of a crisis room be?
So we have other children in that room. I mean, in that classroom as well that utilize.
I think that's a valid question. I'm not worried about what other children are doing or how other children are doing. What I'm asking is, how is Alex doing? And what you said, he's doing great. So my question is
so again, you're going to need to talk to. Right. So again, you'll need to talk to the teachers because he's not doing great. I mean, he is doing better than what I have seen. There are some times where he does have to utilize the cool down room. He is escorted from one class to another. Like I said, it's not all day, every day. But you're going to definitely need to talk with the teacher because she definitely. You can't, but you keep asking me questions and you're not letting me finish my answers.
Okay. Last year, I asked you multiple times how he was doing. And
so he wasn't at our campus last year.
He was at our campus. He's been at
2 years ago.
For a while. Okay.
Right, a year, and he wasn't here last year. It wasn't me that you spoke with last year. Remember, he was at Keith.
Okay.
He got moved to Keith Elementary.
It was before 2017 that I spoke with you and asked you how Alex was doing, okay? So, my next question is, why was it you were telling me he was doing great? And I look at his IEP and I think he's doing far from great. However, I do appreciate you finally telling me the truth, because CPS is now well aware that you've not been upfront with them either.
So the deal is, Mrs. Anthony, when you're asking me how he's doing, I don't have the data in front of me. That's why I always refer you to the teacher. And I always am looking at his growth from where he was when he started at our campus to where he is now. Yes, he is doing much better, but there are lots of restrictions in place, as you know. He's in a very restricted environment. I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm sorry. I wasn't finished.
I requested for the IEP that no one was willing to communicate any of that with me. I think that is a valid question.
So I agree, but you haven't. This is the first time I've talked to you since maybe when he came back in the beginning of the year.
Every time I try to call and ask about how he's doing, no one has been willing to communicate anything.
Okay, so you haven't tried to communicate with me. Excuse me, if you'll let me finish just for a second. So you've called, because I have record of when you've called. You have called a couple of times and we have visited, but I have not. That was at the first semester in the very beginning of the year.
For the IEP.
That wasn't me you spoke with. I'm so sorry.
Yes, I did speak with you. I did.
I think it was Miss McLaurin, Sharon, the special ed secretary, because she wanted copies of it.
Yeah, I did. But I spoke
that wasn't me, and I did. No.
I did. I spoke with you before I spoke with her, and I asked you, how is Alex doing? You said he's doing very well. I said, how is his behavior? You said he's very
okay. So what is it that you need?
I'm sorry.
What is it that you need at this point from me?
Well, I would appreciate it if you told the truth. And when I called and said I would never call, that's not true.
So you called a couple of times the first semester, and that's what I said. There was a couple of times that you have called the first semester, and we have spoken.
I have not spoken with you, so
I didn't speak with you regarding the IEP paperwork. No, ma'am, I didn't. But we have talked about Alex before. Yes, we have.
You didn't. You had the opportunity to tell me. I asked you about it, and you said Alex is doing great. He's very successful in the classroom.
So my whole thing,
based on what I read on the IEP.
And so my whole thing is you have got to contact with the teacher because she's taking the data on him. And she is the one who is monitoring him, observing him, and she's the one who developed the goals for him. So she is the one that you need to speak with, because at this point she doesn't call me to come get involved with him if there is a crisis or if he does have to go to the cool down room, because she handles it within her classroom.
I have a question. This is a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this isn't your concern, but when all of these accommodations go away during the summer and he is with Carl's mother, and then my 2-year-old has to go over there and Alex is not getting the supervision that he needs, and then what then happens to my 2-year-old while he's over there and Alex is not getting the supervision that he needs, he's not being watched around the clock. The other question I have is if Alex is doing so well, then how is it that Carl has had to take him to a therapist? Why is that?
Again, Mrs. Anthony, you're going to have to speak with the teacher.
Well, I know that you have the answers to those questions as well. I know you sit in the meeting.
I don't.
I know that they communicate with you.
We haven't had a meeting this year on Alex.
Right, and you did not even notify me when you did. And
no, we have not. I said we have not had a meeting this year.
Well, you notified me. You did not notify me when you had the art meeting, which you were supposed to do.
We haven't had one this year.
Okay, when you had the art meeting, the date I looked at on the IEP, you did not notify me of that meeting. Okay.
So I haven't been to an art meeting with him this year, so of course I have not notified you. I've not been to a meeting for him. It may have been his old campus. It was not here at ours.
Mm-hmm.
We have not had an art meeting for Alex at Robinson this year, this school year.
Well, I would like to know if anything was discussed with Carl.
Again, I wasn't involved in that meeting, so I can't speak to that. That was Keith.
Finish my question, okay?
So, Mrs. Anthony, I'm going to have to cut this conversation off. I have to go do announcements for the school in 1 minute, and I'm going to have Mrs. Norwood call you, and she can address these questions further.
Okay, so in this conversation, I was asking a valid question. When our older son was around his 2-year-old brother, what happens when he was not getting the proper supervision? I mean, if they have to watch him like a hawk at school, and they still have to do that in 2024 at the age of 15. So fast forward from 2017 to 2024, and where we are at today is that Alex's brother, who was 2 at the time, is now 9 years of age. And Alex, our older son, is 15. And he wants his younger son to die a slow and painful death. And this is considered acceptable. Our son is not receiving psychiatric treatment. He's still under a behavioral modification, IEP. And his behavior, the fact that he repeatedly tells his 9-year-old brother that he wants him to die, is not considered out of the norm by CPS. And the words of the officer that did the welfare check with Precinct 4 said that our 15-year-old looks great. So they're not even going on the fact that he wants his brother to die. They're just saying he looks great. I'm just at a loss for words on that.